Intarsia, known as painting in wood, by using the color, grain, and texture of many types of wood. One can paint or orchestrate a picture, a story, into a mosaic lending movement, texture, and color to evoke emotion. This is a look into such a painting and the artist who created it, the second largest piece of its kind in the country. Please join us as we meet Joe Carr and his Intarsia. What precipitated this project?
Well, my wife did the wall on the other side of the narthex as a banner, and she's on the environmental committee, or I'm sorry, the arts and environmental committee, and she was thinking about what we ought to do on this wall. We had a long discussion about it, and we threw out a bunch of different ideas, and she came up with the idea of portraying the ministries, which is what the wall does. And then we took that to our priest, and the priest immediately said, "That's perfect, because the motto of this order is Live Jesus, and we could do that through the ministries." And so that's what started the whole process.
Physically, how big is this piece?
So the piece is 15 feet wide. It's 9 feet 3 inches tall, not including any of the framing or anything like that. It consists of about 3,200 pieces, 29 different species of wood. And not included in that number is probably about 4,000 individually cut spacers that help give us the three-dimensionality of the piece.
Have you met other people that have ever tackled something like this?
Yes, Judy Gale Roberts. I took a course from her. But unbeknownst to me, almost 40 years ago, probably 40 years ago, I can't remember which office, whether it was Plaquemine or Houston office, and I was up in Midland, Michigan, and I went down there for some meeting. I don't even know what it was, but I remember sitting under this massive 17 by 14 Intarsia. So this one is 15 by 10. So hers is quite a bit bigger. And it was basically a depiction of the Dow Chemical Company. It had the different plants and factories, and a depiction of the founder, Herbert Dow. And it's really awesome. I mean, I appreciated it, but didn't think much more. Well, then I take a course from her. I find out that she was the one who did that.
Wow.
So it is the largest in the U.S. This is the second largest by 3/4 of a square foot. The third largest is in the library in Oregon. It was designed by an artist, and they had convicts as part of their shop rehabilitation or whatever. And it took 10 people over 2 years to do. So now they didn't have as much time as I have on a daily basis.
What inspiration did you draw from while you were creating this piece?
Well, a lot of things, right? So we have over 70 ministries in this church. And the real difficult thing was to figure out what ministries to portray. And so, you have to look at it from a couple different perspectives. The first perspective is what are people going to recognize when they see it? If they see an image, do they recognize that it's the Stephen Ministers, for example, or the food bank, for example? And then second, you have to look at it from the perspective of how it can be rendered in the wood. And you may have the perfect thought process, but if it can't be rendered in the wood where people will easily recognize it, that isn't going to work either. So it was really the combination of those two.
Overall, how many hours do you have involved? And what scale of time frame do you have?
21 months from where we got really serious about the artwork. So including the artwork, the blocking diagrams, all of the sketches, all of that sort of thing. and then the approval process, and then the actual building of it, not including the installation. I've got about 5,100 hours into it.
What was your primary set of tools, and what was your primary mode of operation for creating this piece?
So a lot of the artwork I would take from photographs and then redraw them. Nearly every piece that was redrawn, even though I had photographs. I feel that adds a lot of personal touch to it because it's not going to be the same as the photograph. Once the photograph was, or once the artwork was done, I scanned that in and then used some software, which is it's a very high-end computer animation software, to draw the vectors, so that the point at that point, what you're doing is making decisions on where you're going to cut the piece up, where you want shadow lines, where you want the textures and that. You have to make that decision there, draw the vectors, and then the vectors went to V-carve, and I cut all of the pieces out, almost all the pieces. There are a couple of hand-cut pieces, but I would say 99+% of the pieces are cut out by a CNC.
Okay.
Either full 3/4 inch thickness, or for some of the very small ones, I would cut them to as shallow as 1/4 of an inch, and then laminate those or embed those into the thicker pieces.
We've enjoyed seeing some of the other pieces you've created, the clocks and some of the furniture pieces. So what are you going to do next to challenge yourself?
I could say that I'm going to tear up my shop, which would actually be the truth, because I'm actually going to rebuild my shop after living with it for about 8 years. I've decided that there's some things I'd like to change. But beyond that, I'll go back to more traditional furniture and probably focus a lot on my clocks again, which I really enjoy doing.
Personally, I'd like to thank you for allowing us to come in and be a part of your project. We've thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, well, thank you. I mean, you guys put in a lot of hours and never once tried to compromise on making things quicker and not as good. It's always, to the book, and we got an excellent result out of that, and I really do appreciate the help from the Woodworker Forum. I reached out, and everybody I reached out to said yes, jumped on it immediately, and everybody was here as much as they possibly could have been. So I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure working on this. It's a labor of love. I've got just under 5,100 hours in it over 21 months.
And how many pieces of wood?
There are about 3,200 pieces of wood. Just to let you know, before you see it, they're all hand sculpted and coated. There are no stains or colorants or paints of any sort. What you're seeing is the natural color of the wood. And it does have a protective coating on it, but it's just the natural color of the wood. And so it's been like I said, it's been a labor of love. And with that, I guess we'll.
And just one last thing, if anybody touches that, you might hear me from the other saying, "Hey, get away from that."
There'll be a buzzer, but it'll
Yeah, I feel like we need a drum roll.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, hold on. You got Good.
Thank you. I'll let you look at it for a while. There's lots of little details that you'll find over time, and I hope you get a chance to look at it time and time again. It's really dedicated to the folks here at Holy Infant and all the ministry that is done. And truly how the folks in this parish live Jesus. So the one thing I will point out, and I'll let you look at the rest of it, is is the VJ up here, which is Vive Jesu, which is French for Live Jesus. So, what the wall is about. So I'd like to thank a few people. First of all, my wife Karen, who got me suckered. I mean, involved in this. She's on the Arts and Environmental Committee, or Environment Committee. I always say environmental. And we were talking about this for months and trying to come up with ideas of what to do. And she also provided a lot of support in terms of the artwork. In particular, the Centennial dancers are her design and art. And then sort of critiques along the way, some more pleasant than others. No, it's all great. And so I really thank her. And plus, the total destruction of our house for the last 21 years. Wood parts all over the place, sawdust all over the place. As much as I tried to clean off, I'm sure I brought in a lot of sawdust. I'd like to thank Father Robert, who was the inspiration of the Live Jesus motto, which is obviously the Oblates. They call it a motto, or what do you?
Yeah. No, you can call it a theme.
Yeah, theme.
A theme.
Theme, yeah. So really, Father Robert was, and also provided some art inspiration as a part of this. So I will let you know that the piece is signed. My signature is in it. And I've also put Karen's and Father's initials in it. And the first one to find all three.
Gets to clean it for a year.
Yeah. Unless there are a couple of you who already know where it is, and so you don't count. But I will offer a donation to the Art and Environmental Committee of $100 to find the name of the first person to find all three of them. And then I would like to thank my woodworking community. There's a loosely affiliated forum of about, Richard, how many are there?
About 14,000 members on the rolls, but about maybe 400 or 500 active.
So 14,500 active. Sounds like church, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And so I put out the call, and 6 gentlemen jumped immediately on the call and spent over a week working on all of the framing and putting up of the panels and the small pieces. So I'd like to thank them for that also.
Yeah. So the theme is Jesu, Live Jesus. And the idea is that this depicts in picture
Yeah.
what it means to live Jesus. It's not just imitating him, but rather it is doing ministry with him while he's doing the ministry. That's what it means to live Jesus. And that's exactly what's happening here. So you see DeSales, who was the first one to use that motto, is actually blessing kids as Jesus is blessing all the kids. And you see the other people who are doing the various ministries, the garden ministry, Steve ministry, music ministry, and collecting food for the sick and homebound, and catechetical ministry. It's all here, Santa Nina, all of it. The various ministries we do are ways of living Jesus. And this you may recognize my first dog, right?
Yeah.
And that's all I have to say. And I think, thank you, Joe, for the artistry and everything you poured into it. It's really excellent. Thank you.